I'm Batman. You know those characters you just become instantly obsessed with? Specifically today, I'm talking about the Scarlet Witch. I fell in love with her from her very first appearance in Avengers. After years of patience, we finally got a full-on hero costume for Wanda, which came through at the very end of WandaVision. And granted, we only got it for like 5 minutes and then they changed it immediately afterwards anyway, but we all went nuts over that costume. So after seeing WandaVision and seeing this new suit, I really wanted to make something Scarlet Witch inspired. I was also very obsessed with the red carpet couture versions of characters. I was also very hooked on the dark versions of characters. And from all of that prolonged train of thought, my dark couture Scarlet Witch dress was born. Of course, then Multiverse of Madness came out, and it turned out my design was pretty bang on the money, considering it was originally inspired by WandaVision, and it was just meant to be couture and dark themed. Turns out she actually went pretty dark all on her own. And for this video, we actually aren't going to be starting to make this dress. Wait, what? Promises were made. What about the thumbnail? We're going to be finishing it. I actually got 70% of the way through this project back in, I want to say 2022. Who's ready for a brief trip down the timeline? It's late 2022. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. The Queen has passed. Elon Musk bought Twitter. 2022 was kind of a bad year, wasn't it? And at the same time, I had just abandoned Snow White to start working on my Scarlet Witch project because I have the attention span of a toddler. As usual, I was too cheap to buy a pattern, so I started out by making the skirt, pinning some scrap bits of calico to my mannequin to make some very rough skirt panels. Extended these, which also had a train on the back as well. The crafting gods blessed me, and this came together pretty well, so I moved straight on to the bodice. The neckline plunges a fair bit. I didn't really have a pattern for that, but I did have my self-made princess pattern by Nikita Cosplay and a pair of scissors. It wasn't until putting the bodice on the mannequin that I realized the seams didn't line up at all. As a complete newbie to sewing, it didn't even occur to me that this is something I should do, so the lesson I learned from this is make the bodice first and then draft the skirt second. Quickly whipped together some off-the-shoulder sleeves. These were actually terrible. Let's not dwell on that. These are my sewing origin stories after all. Circling back round to those scissors, I took the plunge. I am sorry, I do amuse myself though. As this was both an off-the-shoulder dress and it had a very plunging neck, I kind of felt like there's no way this dress is going to hold itself up. So I added in an invisible shoulder piece. This was an absolute pain in the arse to make. Adding in a zip to the back, I got to do my very first try on. I was very, very happy with it. I made decent headway on the beading, and then that brings us back to the future. My next and final steps for the dress: finish off the beadwork. I actually still have the needle and thread hanging off of it. Stitch in the lining I have already made, so nice and quick, and basically just pray to the crafting gods that it still fits me, because it's been so very long since I made it. Now you may be thinking, so that doesn't really seem like a whole lot of meat to make an entire video out of. And you'd be absolutely right. You remember my little sketch I did? She is wearing the classic Scarlet Witch headpiece, but we are working in the elaborate, ornate, painstakingly detailed world of couture fashion. Meaning, a simple headpiece could not do. But before I share more about that, let's get this dress finished. I used a combination of poppy jasper and onyx stones for the edging. I picked these specifically because of how well they blended in with the fabric. As the dress is Scarlet Witch inspired, I really wanted it to feel like the dress was conjured by magic and sort of took its shape organically. This is the current state of the inside with lots of raw edges. Alright, so I'm thinking if I just sandwich the dresses inside one another, then I should be able to just I'm not really sure where that sentence was going. I'm just gonna do it. But there's pins in this. Because of all the beading along the edge, I had to pin the lining about 2 inches further down from where I was actually going to be sewing it. So at this point I've got a lot of fiddly hand stitching around loads of pins and loads of beads, so I'm going to stick a film on and hop to it. Stitching the lining with all the heavy beading and the extremely delicate invisible tulle fabric was very fiddly and time consuming, but hand stitching with a film on in the background has become my favourite part of most projects now. It's just so relaxing. Good morning. I won't lie, I feel awful today. The best way for me to describe it would be something along the lines of this. But I won't let that stop me. Today I really wanted to get work started on the actual headpiece because I'm so excited to start this thing. There have been 3 underlying inspirations of the direction I could go with this headpiece. First option, tiara based route using wire work and gemstones. Second option, very heavily inspired by some of the comic versions. I don't know for sure, so do not quote me on this. There's a version of the Scarlet Witch where she's Romanian and she has like this very beaded headdress. Third option of inspiration, just had some Tudor stuff come up in my Pinterest feed and I ended up looking at like, you know, those like thick band headdresses, which got me thinking that's actually like a perfect combination of something that can be really ornate, crown or tiara like, but equally is a lot more headdress like and has a lot more construction and shape to it. Merge those 2 angles together, I can probably make a pretty cool headpiece. So following that idea, there's a lot of ways you can go about creating that iconic, I don't want to say horn shape, but it's kind of a horn shape. I'm gonna draw out a bunch of different variations of the shape and essentially just try on a bunch of paper crowns until I get one that I'm happy with. I started by getting some rough measurements and then drew my first shape from memory. That's shape 1. I think it was pretty bad, so I'm gonna actually get some reference pictures up. It's all part of the creative process. On the second one, I replicated the WandaVision one, minus the side pieces that come down, because I wanted to keep it more crown-like. My partner drew a shape of a design that was actually pretty good, so I'm going to try and make that one too. Those are my 3 attempts. Attempt number 1, that is actually not that bad. Attempt number 2, possibly a little wide, might have to bring it in a little bit. And number 3. You know what? This is actually going to be really tough to decide between. Damn it. I'll see how it looks with my hair down. And my hair's going to look awful, so don't judge. I'm ill, I established this. I'm gonna have to think on this, I'll be back shortly. I've been taking some pictures and sending them to my partner for some feedback because I really couldn't decide, and I'm gonna have a go at combining 2 of the designs for what will hopefully be the final one. 2 more variations to pick from. This is like a whole process. So I've now got this kind of deal. And I will decide which one after lunch because I'm hungry. 6 run-throughs and a lot of messages back and forth with Dan. The final design is this. She will look something along the lines. I've spent most of the day just faffing about with different shapes and stuff. I've wasted so much time cutting out this in some felt, and then that's going to be my base to do the beadwork on top of. I will then be reinforcing it with these plastic sheet thingies. The beads and stones that I'm using are going to be quite heavy, so it will not support its own structure at all. All of these stone varieties to use for the headpiece. And then on top of that, I do have leftover black and burgundy beads from the dress, which I will also incorporate into it, so it all matches quite well. Oh, I almost forgot. I also have a little stone to go in the center of it as well. And that is the plan. I just accidentally deleted a whole bunch of footage off my camera from yesterday. Fuck. Which is a big chunk of working on the dress. I'm gonna run a recovery software on the card to see if I can please get it back, because I haven't overwritten it, so there's a chance. Not a good chance, but there's a chance. Good morning all. I am actually in a really good mood today, and I definitely should not be. Spent like 3 hours last night trying to get that footage I deleted back, and it didn't work. I couldn't get it back. It is gone forever. But I'm actually in a really good mood. It has been pouring it down all night and all morning, and it's going to continue all day, which pretty much just means my day is just going to be at home in cozy loungewear, listening to the rain all day whilst I happily bead my headpiece. Is that not just peak existence?
At least it's turning into a beautiful day.
I'm going to be getting on with beading the headpiece. I actually get to use something I have been dying to use since I bought it. It's quite scary looking, and frankly, I am quite scared of it. One of those big boy embroidery holder stand things. I don't necessarily need to use it for a project this little, but I basically want an excuse to try it out, which means I also have to build it first, and I might regret this decision. I am also going to be over ambitious with this headpiece. Shocker. There's the little gemstone that I want to go in the center, to use a little LED light to go behind the gem to actually kind of light it up in the headpiece. So I figure I can create a little pocket in the back of it on the inside for a little battery to go inside to turn on the LED essentially. And I will show you what I mean. I've got this box of 3mm light emitting diodes. We have all these different colors, including some red ones. I've got little gem, and I've already scratched a little hole in the back so the light can come through. And the idea being, when you put these little lights onto the battery, so that the little light holds over the hole and shines through the gem. And if it stopped focusing on my head for a second, I'd be able to show you that up close. Hopefully it will look cool. So that's the concept. Might not look that good, it might not even be noticeable, but we're gonna try it, and we're gonna do some shoots in the dark to really just emphasize that I did this cool thing for no reason. For now, we need to build my big scary frame and get this mounted onto it so we can start the beadwork. This feels like a disaster waiting to happen. I'm gonna take my mic off because I don't want to accidentally cut the wire. I really hope this thing is 1, easy to build, and 2, came with instructions. I have no idea what to do now. I have no instructions and no idea how this thing goes together. I barely remember what it looks like. So I am going to try and find the shop where I bought it from and hope I can figure it out from their listing pictures. What do lollipops do? First step I've worked out. This is a foot, and on each foot goes this piece like so, and that makes my little feet leg things. And then the 4 Allen key ones are for the feet. Okay, I've got this. First piece assembled. Oh my god, this is making me sweat, man. Hot chocolate probably in that one. My hands are so red. Got my lollipop pieces. Get one of the little cube doodad. This thing is so cute. And just, well, that was lovely. I have no idea where I'm storing this thing, but I really wanted it. That not ADHD in a nutshell. Screw it, so that's like stiff now. And then you loosen it if you want to tilt the frame, which is very cool. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. This might be my new favorite thing ever. I'm gonna give you a tour. Here we have mega awesome frame thingy that can be used for embroidery. As you can see, it's got like these slidable adjustments so that these top pieces can come down and up, so you can change the height of your piece. And equally, all of these holes mean that these join points can go in any of these holes. So you can also change the width of your piece. And on top of that, as I've shown you, the stand is kind of like a seesaw, so you can have it flat on the table, you can have it angled towards you, or whatever else. So this means not only can I sit at a table and work at it like this, I can also be sat on the sofa or on the bed and have it sat over my lap like so. Is that not awesome? Getting back to work, I mounted my felt with the headpiece template already drawn on and adjusted the frame accordingly. Before I start with the actual beadwork, I'm going to make a little hole in the very center for the LED light to be able to come through. Taking the LED back out, I stitched down my central gemstone and began the beadwork around it. I started with some small garnet stones as they matched the glass stone in the center. Unfortunately, these were so small that my needles did not fit through them. This ultimately meant I had to keep taking the needle off the thread, thread the stone, then re-thread the needle to get it through the fabric, and then repeat this for every single stone. But this clip you are watching right now has been sped up times 10,000. Thankfully, when moving on to the other stones, they actually fit through my needles, so I was able to pick up the pace. After days of beading, it was finally time to remove it from the frame and turn it into a crown. I started by stitching down the LED inside, then I cut away the excess material, leaving about a 1-inch border to fold back and stitch down. Once the edges were neat, I cut out some little horns from the plastic sheet to support the structure, sandwiching these in the middle with the back panel being stitched over the top. With one half of the crown structure complete, I thought I'd give you a little demonstration of why the plastic inserts are kind of a vital part of this. With the back now complete, you can see where the little LED wires are poking through so I can attach the battery later on. For the final stage, I stitched the headband into place on the crown. This isn't the most technical methodology, but it works. This is a trigger warning. The first few clips of the reveal do contain flashing lights, so please skip the next 12 seconds of the video if this can be a trigger for you. Hi there. I had planned to wear it further down than this, but this is balancing on my head. The stones are so heavy that I am surprised it hasn't fallen off yet. I'm stepping on the dress again. Probably my most disastrous attempt at a results shoot. I can't move properly, but I hoped you at least liked what you could see of the result. I do love this. I have a couple of tweaks that I want to make to the headpiece because it's really heavy and it basically always feels like it's going to fall off my head. This is like the ultimate chick flick princess films we all watched growing up where they balance the books on their heads. I feel like that training I did as a child is paying off right now because this fucker is balanced. Maybe add a second headband or something just to make it more secure on my head. But other than that, I do really love it. I haven't been able to get a shot of the light coming through it yet. I want to do a little experiment. I'm gonna turn off all of the lights in here and see if you can see the light coming through on the headpiece. Last one. That's me. It works. It's not me trying to cast a horn-shaped shadow. I'm Batman. Okay, I'm done. Absolutely in love with how this dress turned out. I definitely want to make some more couture red carpet inspired dresses from my favourite characters, like not just across Marvel, but just across all fandoms. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Today, I really want to get work. Blech. I'm so ill. No. I thought it was going to fall off my head, and if it had, I couldn't have caught it because I can't move my arms. And from all of that brain train of thought,